Hey guys, this is my review of the LX100 by Panasonic, a 24 by 75 millimeter camera. And these are basically my likes and dislikes about this camera. First of all, the 25 or 24 to 75 millimeter range is a good range for some people and not so much for others. This is a second camera for me. I could not exclusively shoot with something like this just because I find that the zoom range is limiting. Having said that, you get fantastic image quality, DSLR quality, easily up to 5000 ISO. You can even shoot JPEG and get away with it. It just produces nice out-of-camera results if you've set your image parameters, properly. Even though that's of course a personal preference. I still shoot RAW and JPEG together, but I find a lot of times those RAW files just end up going to the recycle bin because my JPEG output is that good. I do set my image parameters as such to be the contrast at 0, which is in the middle, the sharpening at +1, the noise reduction at -5, which is as far into the spectrum you can go to turn it down, and then a saturation at +1 for that extra punch in the colors. The battery life, of course, is not going to be as good as DSLR because you're relying on that battery to power the focus of the lens, zooming in and out, and then of course your LCD screen and your electronic viewfinder here, which by the way, you can turn on and off. It does have that eye-sensitive EVF, and what I like about it is that you got to get pretty close before you affect it. Here, I'll do it on this angle. Notice how close I have to get before it is affected. I like that because if you're going to shoot, looking at your LCD and you have your camera close to the body, you don't have to shoot away from your body because basically you're not going to be as steady than if your elbows are tucked in. So I like the fact that this LCD and EVF combo works quite well. And so also you can shoot easily with one hand because the leather grip here is such that it's not very slippery. It's not like a hard plastic fake thing. I mean, I don't know what the material is. Maybe it is leather. I don't know, but it certainly feels like it. And because it is such as it is, you don't feel like you're going to drop the camera anytime soon. And if you put your pinky under the camera, you'll notice that you can switch from your thumb to your index without feeling like you're going to drop the camera. And what that means is that low to the body shots and then overhead shots, you can switch very quickly if you're shooting one-handed without thinking you're going to drop it. Now, as far as the lens cap is concerned, as you can see, I'm not using a traditional lens cap. For those who don't know what this is, it's a JJC lens cap. They've made them for different cameras, and they make it for the LX100. And the nice thing is you don't have to worry about losing your cap or have it dangling annoyingly by a string under your camera. And I do like this feature. I just find it works really, really well. The only thing is that unlike the threads of a lens filter where you have to screw it in 3-4 times before it's secure, this will just go on top, you'll snap it in, and then it's supposed to fit snugly on your lens, but this one in particular does not. And as a result, what I had to do is I had to MacGyver a solution here. And what I did is I took an elastic and I cut very, very fine strands, about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch, 2 of them, and I put one on top, one around here somewhere, just on the lens like this, on the threads or whatever, and then I pushed the cap over top the elastic, then I turned it. And now I feel like I can hold this thing without it going flying off. And it's not tight, but it's just a better fit, and it seems to get the job done. As far as the touch screen, there is none. As far as the flip screen, there is none. Again, because I mentioned how I find it easy to shoot with one hand with this camera, it kind of makes up for a lack of a flip screen. But for sure, I would have preferred a flip screen, but I knew that going in when I got this camera. As far as the image stabilization on the camera, on the stills or on the pictures, very, very good. But on the video, it's okay. I find like when you're walking with this camera, it's kind of jittery. And if you compare that to the Olympus OMD cameras, boy, if you want to see fantastic image stabilization in video, just go in a store, walk around the store with an OMD camera. I can't speak to the OMD 10 version 1, but certainly the MD5, both Mark 1 and 2 and the OMD 1, holy shit, does that thing rock. It's just so smooth, it's scary. And anyways, once you see that and then you compare it to this, you realize that they're on a different level playing field. But, gets the job done. Button dials. Boop. Yeah. So here we've got the shutter speed, we've got the, the exposure compensation, shutter speed, you got the filter, if you like to do some creative output with, dynamic monochrome and color punch and all this whatever stuff, that's there for you to have fun with. And here you've got the I button, Intelligent Auto, and some people have complained that you can trigger it too easily because it's close to the shutter button. Well, you can disable that. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. You can't disable it, but you can affect how it works and how easily it gets turned on. So I'll turn that here. So if you notice the square here with the letter A inside, when I press it, nothing happens. Okay? And the reason nothing's happening is because in the menu you can tell it to require you to hold the button down for a couple of seconds to activate it, which means that you're not going to hit it accidentally and turn it on. So I'll do it right now. I'll say press and then I'll count. Press 1, 2, see? And I'll do it again. Press 1, 2, and then goes back to A. So you have to hold it pretty long before you turn it on. So that negates the possibility that you will turn that feature on when you don't want to. You do have a hot shoe, and which means it accommodates Panasonic and Olympus flashes. There are micro four third flashes on the market, both by Olympus, Nissan. I don't know if there's other brands, but they're smaller. They tilt, swivel. They got video light, and they work very, very nicely. And of course, they're much smaller than the big flashes like the FL50. Which is going to look ridiculous on a tiny camera like this. It's more ergonomically friendly, and will get the job done. But Panasonic does provide this little flash here, and this flash is quite small, but it gets the job done. I don't understand why reviews are poo-pooing on this flash. I mean, it gets very good flash coverage. It flashes evenly, and of course you can add your own artistic flair to it if you want. By either adjusting the flash exposure compensation or you're shooting in manual and then messing around with your shutter speeds. But it triggers very, very quickly because it's using the battery from the camera. It's not working small batteries that you may have put inside here. So overall, it's not a Panasonic afterthought, as some of the reviewers have said. It's just a small flash that you can use when you really need it. And keep in mind that you do have a short telephoto range here. You're not shooting halfway across the room in some church or some wedding or whatever. You need your 580EX or whatever to friggin' blast across the room. You've got a short telephoto range, so which means that the flash doesn't require to be super, super strong. So it does a good job. Certainly would have liked it to be tilt swivel, even if it's small. But other than that, it gets the job done. All right. And so finally, Auto ISO. The Auto ISO does not allow you to set custom. I've been trying to do that word like on 5 takes. I'm obviously not going to happen. You cannot set your Auto ISO, customize it. The word is customizable, so I can't even do it. And I'm sober. You can't customize your auto ISO parameters. Which kind of annoys me because if you've ever shot with Nikon DSLRs, you know how useful that can be in certain situations. Pros and amateurs know this. You can say, don't let the camera go below 1/60th of a second, and don't let the ISO go above 1/6000 or 1/3200 or of a second or whatever. The ISO at 5,000 or 6,000, whatever. So in other words, you can work within a shutter speed and ISO, and then the camera meters the rest. It gives you what I call safe metering, which means after that you can go in post. You've got an evenly processed or evenly metered scene, and then after that you can add your own touches to it. This camera doesn't do that. It just basically kind of tries to figure out what you want, and oftentimes it doesn't get it right. It doesn't get it wrong if you don't have moving subjects, but there are times you want to boost your ISO to boost up your shutter speed, and it won't do that. It doesn't allow you that sort of flexibility. Having said that, I do find the Panasonic menus or buttons to be very, very easy to work with. Some people might disagree, but I find once you've gotten used to them, it's very easy to access, and you do have function buttons here that allow you to assign certain features to your liking. So I hope this was useful. Sorry about my blunder on the auto ISO stuff. Getting tired here. So I've set up a quick gallery of shots that I took with the camera. A few were done with the filters that the camera does produce. I did not do any processing on them in Photoshop or anything like that. And of course the EXIF is listed with the images, which, just a quick rant. I don't know why, like I like going on Flickr and I like looking at other people's work. It's just nice to see what kind of equipment they're using and what their camera decisions were and their lens choices and stuff like that. And some photographers remove all that stuff, all of it. Like they're some part of some friggin' secret society. I don't get it. Like, is it an insecurity thing? I don't know. I mean, to me, the EXIF is a very useful data for beginner photographers. I'm not one of those people, but the people who are learning photography, I always tell them, take a look at the EXIF, take a lot of pictures and look at your EXIF information. And eventually, you're going to make sense of that information as to what you did right and what you did wrong. And for whatever reason, you go on some of these sites and the photographers will take all that stuff out. And I don't understand why that's the case. It doesn't change anything. If I look at a good image or a bad image with EXIF, it doesn't matter. So I don't know. I don't get that. Anyways, that's just my rant. So anyways, I hope you liked the video. And if you don't, well, sorry to disappoint you. But if you do like it, please like the video. Okay.